Welcome back, everyone. We're your friendly neighborhood Beeroes, about to do a season review on Umbrella Academy Season 2. And for me, Season 1 was hard to start. Episodes 1 to 3, I almost quit. Episode 4 took me back in. Then I hated how Season 1 ended. But Season 2 was a huge relief because the way they handled the ending of Season 1 into Season 2 was perfect. What are your thoughts, Gav?
I loved season two. I love season two so much that I want to rewatch season two. Everything about season two was it became like one of my favorite shows after season two. I enjoyed season one. I really did. I didn't know what to make of it. I was kind of familiar with the comic book, not really too familiar with the plot. But I really honestly I knew that it was written by the dude who was in My Chemical Romance. I mean, that's how I knew of it. And I thought the name Umbrella Academy was just like a cool name. But that was pretty much it. So like going into season one, I didn't know what to expect, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I really did. I knew you had a lot of gripes, and I could see, we had talked about season one like off camera and a lot of the things that sort of bothered you, and I totally get that. I really do. But season two, I just I don't know. I feel like they got their stuff together,
Like,
and like
Destiny's Children. Klaus, just the character Klaus, he's a mess up. He's just all over the place. And, him and Ben's dynamic is hysterical. It's heartwarming. It's fun. It's always entertaining. It's like, big brother, little brother type relationship. And, him being like a cult leader and then trying to play it off as not a cult, but his family's like, you lead a cult, is one of the greatest things I've heard, especially because it's called Destiny's Children, and lyrics to their songs is part of his like testament for his cult. It's amazing.
yeah. All the characters in this show, man. The first season, I loved each individual character and what they were about, and it just continues in season two.
Oh yeah.
And I think it just elevates each character in season two. There was so many moments that each character had that really allowed them to shine. I haven't watched season one since last year, but I can't remember as many moments as there was in season two for each individual character where where I watched it and I was like, oh my god, like I love Luther, and oh, I love Diego.
Well,
You know what I mean?
because the thing is, Diego and Luther, to me, they weren't able to display their true personality in season one. In season two, they were more fun. Luther wasn't as serious. Diego wasn't as serious. They had a lot of, whips and quips to each other, and it worked. And I know they did it in season one, but the way the characters had their moments together in their, in pairs, I thought was perfect. Diego was funny. He had that, his hair was all over the place with the beard. Like, he was disheveled. He was that serious, like, vigilante in season one, and now he's just like, screw it, like, whatever. Like, everything's grown out. I'm stuck in a timeline I don't even understand, and I'm just gonna, like, enjoy what time I have right now.
I think with Diego, what I really loved about him in season two was there was a lot more, and I don't know if you had just said this as well, but there was a lot more emotion to his character. I really liked how, and there was a part where, Five, who I think is probably my favorite character. I mean, I love all of them, but I think Five just to me is just steals the show. He had a moment with Diego where he was basically saying, you don't always have to be this superhero that you think you are. Like, you don't always have to be the hero. I'm sorry, truth hurts, but this is what it is. Where Diego was just like, no, like, because I have this ability, I'm supposed to use this ability for good. And he was so adamant on saving Kennedy, but just this whole like, I am, I need to be a stereotypical superhero. That is why I'm here, and let me do what I need to do. Where Five's like, it doesn't have to be like that. Like, even though it's superheroes and it's all fantasy, for Five to be like almost kind of, to me, and maybe I'm looking too much into it, but sort of like the superheroes that you read in comic books. It seemed almost like very meta to me. Like, you don't
Yeah.
have to be like the superheroes that wear tights that like jump from building to building and save people. This is real life, dude. Like, that's sort of the vibe I got. And I was like, that's so brilliant. That's so brilliant to handle it like that. But yeah, again, Five. I have nothing negative to say about Five.
No,
Five in season one I thought was great, and in season two, the
he's
dude
even
just
better.
killed it yet again.
He just
Oh my god.
he's funny. He's very sarcastic, and he, in a sense, I feel like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he doesn't show it. And in a sense, he's telling Diego, you don't need to be the hero, but I feel like in his mind that he has to be the hero because he's traveling in time trying to stop the world to end. And he does a good job of not showing it.
Yeah.
Especially at the end, which, spoiler, because we're going to talk spoilers, when everyone gets gunned down and he has to, think back and say, okay, take it one step at a time, just go in reverse a little bit. Rewound time, and save the whole Umbrella Academy. I think he, as much as he downplays it to Diego, I think it's because he knows at the end of the day, he's the one that has to save everyone. That's my own opinion,
Yes. Yeah. Just the characters in the show are just incredible. I mean, it is a wacky show. It really is. And it's tough when, people are asking me, oh, what should I watch? And I've said, watch Umbrella Academy, and they're like, well, I've seen it. And hey, I get it. We all have different flavors. We like different things. But if you're looking for a wacky show with some enjoyable characters and just the way that they, talk. And what's really crazy, man, is this show was filmed, I don't know, a year and a half ago, maybe. And the themes that were in this show and how they echoed what's literally happening in our world, like as
right
we're filming
now,
this,
wild.
was really crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy. And it just, I don't necessarily know if that. I don't think that's what made me love it even more because of that. I just thought that was kind of eerie in a way that was going on. But
for me, what made it more fun for me was the writing was perfect, the storyline was perfect. The character arcs I loved. Even like I said with Luther, he had a lot of moments of comedy. He, when he knew Allison was married, he was just like depressed eating a ton of food by himself. Like he was, taking a part in a fighting ring for some rich guy. Like he wasn't that just stoic character who was just, bland in the first season. He had more time to shine, and I think that's what they did well with this season. I think instead of developing the characters and their stories, we knew them, so they had more time to shine on screen for each character. And I think that's why I liked it so much, because each character arc was brilliant. Allison, she kept her mouth shut and her powers, on the DL, especially with everything going on in the 1960s, right? Or 50s. Mm-hmm. So,
60s,
yeah. So, like, it was cool to see her at the end when she was using her powers, and then she was, like, overdoing it because she's like, screw these people. Like, I'm getting back at them and I can do it. So I can't wait to see her character arc, with that going into, season 3. However, that could have just related with the time and she could go back to, using her powers the way she needs to use them.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Allison, because as much as I enjoy seeing Five, Allison in this season, she was another one where I was just so, oh my gosh, man. I mean, just, she really like sucked me into this season.
Yeah.
She really brought it. I mean, the level of like emotion that she had in some of her scenes, her acting chops. Yeah, she's incredible. That actress is incredible. I'm telling you. I mean, yes, in season 1 you learn about these individual characters, and season 2, if you like them in season 1 and you're like, oh yeah, okay, like Klaus, yeah, I enjoy him, and he's got these little quirks and Ben and blah blah blah. In season two, you're like, I found myself saying, wow, I really love each of these characters, and this is why. And you had touched upon, like, comedic moments. There was a few comedic moments that were actually really funny and appropriately placed. But the show doesn't hold back on like emotion.
Yeah.
Um, I think even the relationship between uh, oh my gosh, Missy and um, oh my gosh, Ellen Page. What's the name of her character?
Vanya.
Vanya. Like that relationship between the two of them, um, man, that was so like compelling and heartfelt, and it just, I don't know, like the theme of that, and even Allison and her husband, like, I believe their marriage, I believe their bond, their union, and it, I just was blown away by this season. I mean, there really isn't anything negative I can say about it. I mean, it definitely, if I were to choose between the two, yes, I think season two was absolutely the stronger season. Like, beginning to end, I mean, it was just so well done on
Yeah.
so many different levels. It
I
really
think
was.
I think Jess and I watched it in like 2 days. It didn't take
Yeah.
long because we were hooked, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and every part of it was entertaining. The only gripe I had with Vanya's character was because she forgot about what happened before they got brought to the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she was the only character that didn't really get to shine. And I could be wrong, like people might disagree with me, but it was just kind of like, she forgot who she was for most of it, so she was just like going through the motions while everyone else was like, building onto their characters. And then she remembered who she was, and that was really it. Like, there was no development other than, instead of being bad and being mad at her family, she was on
Mm-hmm.
their side. And that's the only difference for her that I saw. Which, again, isn't a bad thing, but I wish we could see more from her, more personality, more substance for her character.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm trying to, and I kind of, yeah, I don't know if I really felt one way or another about that. I think there's that scene where Vanya picks up Missy's husband, who her husband actually was the piece of shit father in it.
Yeah.
He was Beverly's dad, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this guy plays a fantastic asshole all the time. He really does though. Like, he's really good at it. I'm sure he's a lovely gentleman. But when she picks him up from being drunk, and Luther looks, and they make eye contact, um, I don't, I can't help but think that if Vanya didn't forget who she was and where she came from, and just decided, in this time period, I'm just going to live my own life because I sort of felt betrayed by my brothers and sisters, and I just want to start anew, and this is my chance. I think that would have made for even a more emotional moment between
Yes.
her and Luther looking at each other, where Vanya knew who he was and still said, I know who you are. I don't care. I'm going to live my life now. Like,
Yeah.
I think that would have been, I think that it would have hit even harder if she knew and just decided, I'm not even going to acknowledge my brother. I'm going to move on.
I agree.
But it's like little gripes. But other than that, the show was freaking incredible. That scene,
So,
real quick, with Five and the board of directors
oh,
was incredible.
yeah. So my
That
only
song,
gripe,
yeah.
well, so my second gripe, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
would be Ben. How his character ended and restarted. So I loved how Ben had, like, the coming to life where, I'm dead and I need to move on. And he helped Vanya through her catastrophic explosion that was going to cause World War III or make World War II nuclear. I forget. But, he had a good ending to his character. And then they go back to the future, the Umbrella Academy. And now there's the Sparrow Academy with Ben at the head of it. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, you gave him the perfect out. Perfect, like, character arc, especially within this season, because he was there a lot. He wasn't in as much in season one, but like to have him like on the forefront with Klaus the whole time, and like causing trouble for Klaus and making funny comments and just being there, and then ultimately helping out Vanya. I thought he had a great ending, and I wanted to stop there, but then I had to see his freaking face in the Sparrow Academy. I'm like, come on. Like, I get why they did it, but you had such a sweet ending for this guy, and now you just ruined it.
Well, see, and that's where, my ignorance kind of comes into play, and I'm not familiar with the Sparrow Academy, so I don't know if this ties into one of the volumes of the comic book where this similar storyline happens, and then you have Ben, is back, and it's a Sparrow Academy and blah blah blah. I mean, I understand that a lot of this material, when it's adapted from books, comics, whatever, that sometimes the writers have the liberties of changing things. I think, for example, The Walking Dead is probably one where they change a lot of things, which I think is cool. I mean, you have the comics, and then you watch the show, and you're not always like, oh, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen here because I read it in, issue 32 and blah, blah, blah. I think it's cool to change it up. So that's the thing. I don't know if it's necessarily right from the comic book. And if it is, that's one thing. But you're right. I mean, you can – I want to say you have the liberty to change it. However, I don't know if it's a thing where, like, they're discussing it with Gerard Way, the writer, and he's like, no. I'm sorry, you can't change that. If there's anything I want to keep, it has to be Ben. He has to come back. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Because I know nothing about the comics. Yeah, I know nothing about the comics either because I've never read them. For me, just as a movie watcher, as a TV watcher, I thought that was such a fitting ending to his character. And I hate when people just bring people back. Sometimes it works, but in this case, I thought he had a solid ending. It was epic. It saved everyone. It stopped nuclear war, and he did it in a nice way. And the message he gave to Vanya to give to Klaus at the end too. It all came together. And I'm like, as much as I'm sad to see Ben go, I was happy for him. And then I saw him again, and I'm like, TV never fails. TV never fails.
I see your point. I mean, from a pure story perspective, in the way to end a character's story, I get it. I think it ended in a really poetic, beautiful way. And then when you kind of see that, it almost like, in a way, spoils, or it just kind of maybe tarnishes too harsh of a word. But the way that ended, and then it's like, oh well, he's not really gone because he's right there now.
Yeah, I get and obviously, and obviously he's not gonna know them, and it's gonna be like a different Ben. But to me, I don't know.
I get it. It was kind of like my Agent Coulson thing, like the way he died in Avengers, and the next thing you know, I see he's on a 6 ABC sitcom for Marvel, and I'm like, wait, what? Why? Who? I mean, and I don't know how I never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ever, so I have no room to talk, but I get it. It's like, sometimes people have to go, and it may be a character that you love, and then you ended it in such a nice way, and then I completely see your point. I really do.
Like, what if they bring Tony Stark back because a new timeline started, and there's Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark in the MCU again?
I fear that they're going to do that.
I think so too. I hope they don't, which I
think sucks.
Yeah, he had the perfect ending. And then, if they were to bring him back, that just it's wasteful. To me, I get it. It's comic book world, and anything can happen. Anyone could get brought back. But just let people, rest in peace. Easiest way to say it.
I completely agree with you, man. So I do see your point with Ben, and the character of Ben I loved more in this season.
Yeah, so did I.
I think I've said that about every character. I had more of a connection, I felt, with every character in this season, more so than the first. So, yeah, watch Umbrella Academy Season 2, please, watch it. Everybody.
It's great.
Just get it. I mean, do you think – yeah, I guess you would. I was going to say, do you think people have to watch Season 1 to watch Season 2? Yes. But I guess you kind of do.
Yeah, because, I mean, you in a sense – no, but if you want to get the references to what they're talking about with Vanya, you would need to. Like, you need to. They do, flash back to a few things, but you need to understand the whole story by watching season 1. You don't have to, but, you might like the first few episodes. It's just, to me, in the first season, it was a lot of filler. It was a lot of learning the characters, and that's all it was. Because at the same time, you do have 7 people who you need to learn and, understand and get on the same level of what their characters are. And I get that, because that's a lot to take in. 7 people. It was just a little too slow, for my opinion, in season 1. But it is worth it, because season 2 is out of this world good. And if you want to see Klaus have a cult that he runs away from all the time and then goes back to when he can. How about when he was trying to push away the cult and say, don't follow me, I'm a fraud. And they all start saying, I'm a fraud. I'm a fraud. And he's like, whatever. Nothing I can do.
It was so good. It was so good. He's another one who's just like, I don't know who the heck this actor is. I've never seen him in anything else. If anybody has, if I don't even know if this guy's been in anything else, like, please, like, comment, let us know, because I would love to see other bodies of work this actor has done, because he's unbelievable.
Robert
Unbelievably
Sheehan.
talented.
Robert Sheehan.
Yeah.
Dude, and how about what caught me, and I was so excited right from the get-go, the beginning. So they all come into the 1960s in different years, right? And then 5 comes about, and his whole family's battling tanks and stuff, and the nukes are coming. It was so epic. Like, I wanted that fight to happen at the end. It was so good. Just seeing them all use their powers, and, Klaus was using Ben and other dead people to destroy other soldiers, and Luther's blocking for Klaus. Oh my god, it was awesome. It was so good. That whole fight scene was so epic. I loved it.
And that was, I'm right there with you. That was my Avengers, the first Avengers movie, like, New York battle scene, kind of like epic. All the superheroes are together and they're showcasing what their ability is, like, and they were kind of in their costumes, so to speak. Klaus is in like this long Matrix trench coat, and I was like, oh shit, like, is this how it's, we're gonna see this and this is how it's gonna end? And we didn't get that, and it was such a tease, and I know, I'm right there with you. I really wanted more of that, but oh well. What are you gonna do?
Overall, again, it was fantastic. If you watched Umbrella Academy Season 2, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know who your favorite character is, what your favorite scene was, your favorite character arc, anything about this. Let us know, because we want to talk about it. It was such a fun series. Season, not series. I'm acting like it's over. It's not over yet.
No. Season 3 is happening, right?
It better be.
I would think so, right? Like, I feel like a lot
too.
of people are talking about Umbrella Academy Season 2. From what I hear, like, on other kind of podcasts and stuff like that, they're talking about. So please make it Season 3. We need it.
Yes. As always, thank you for watching, Mr. Kevin.
Mr.
Cheers.
Cheers.